Anal Brats, Books 9 through 12, 4-pack. First time anal sex erotica. Written by Kimmy Welsh. Narrated by Kline. A pawn in his game. Anal Brats 9. Anal sex erotica. Cliff is always looking several moves ahead. In his time playing chess, he's won tournaments, prizes, honors. Heck, he's even brushed shoulders with one or two grandmasters. There's so many things around his house related to the game that I'd be hard-pressed to be oblivious to it all. As such, I had become quite the student of chess myself. But nevertheless, I had still never bested him in the 2 years that I'd stayed there with him. It had been a while since we'd played. Cliff was one of the top analysts for a social media company that you might have heard of, and recently they've been increasingly active. As a consequence, he didn't get much downtime. He had a rare day off that day, and I started pestering him early on. It wasn't too long after breakfast that I got a strong desire to play. It's tough to articulate, but sometimes all I have to do is think about chess and I have to play it. It's almost like sex in that regard, I guess. I've never done it, but I've felt an urge like it. Come on, I pleaded, whining at him like a brat.
Kyla, I didn't take the day off work to play you at chess.
Scared?
Why would I be scared?
Maybe you're worried I might win. Don't worry, I won't tell your peers.
There's nothing to be worried about.
Prove it.
Where's the satisfaction in that?
You get to shut me up. He paused to think.
That would be pretty satisfying, now that you mention it.
So let's play. He shook his head dismissively, but I could tell I had him on the hook. Now was the time to reel him in. The board's already set up, if you think you've got what it takes. He started to smirk.
At least you're an optimist.
Just one game.
Okay,
he said, raising a finger.
But if I win, you have to do whatever I want.
Deal, I said quickly, without really thinking it through. But if I win, you get to do whatever I want.
You won't win, he repeated.
Okay. If I take a piece, I get to do whatever I want? Pawns don't count.
You don't sound quite as confident as before.
Come on, Cliff. Surely an almost grandmaster like you has what it takes. He hated it when I brought up the fact he'd never quite made it to GM. I knew it'd get him riled. In many ways, the game had already started.
Fine, he said. When I win, you get to do whatever I ask, and if you so much as capture a piece, I'm at your disposal.
I like the sounds of that, I said wryly. I already had something in mind to spur me on. Something I hadn't divulged to you yet, dear reader, is that I'm horny 24/7. Living with Cliff meant that sex wasn't exactly easily attainable. I knew I was pretty, and not just because his friends said so. But that doesn't automatically give me a free pass. I'd often be so cautious around guys that I'd never made it further than first base. I was too scared to ever try it with Cliff, given that, at 34, he was 15 years older than me. If I managed to score that all-important piece, I decided I'd skip second base altogether and go straight for third. Cliff did say he'd grant me any favor, after all. What was the worst that could happen? He followed me to the 2-seater table to do battle. We walked through the hallway, and I looked back to make sure he was still behind, guiding him to the challenge like a temptress. I had on a tight pair of yoga pants, and I definitely caught his eye faltering in the direction of my round, toned ass on the way. It was tough for him to ignore. Get ready to do battle, I said, sitting down first and facing him as he pulled out his chair. He looked at his watch.
I'll be done before 10 o'clock.
Cliff sat down nearest to the black pieces and looked across at mine. I thought I'd give myself an advantage, I said. I pushed out my pawn and looked across.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?